Auven.
On September 26, 2022, a machine on the Danish island of Bornholm records something strange. It is 2:03 in the morning. The signal does not look like an earthquake. It looks like an explosion. 17 hours later, it happens again. Below the Baltic Sea, one of Europe's most important energy systems is breaking apart. Within hours, circles of gas begin rising to the surface. They are so large they can be seen from the air. This is how the Nord Stream sabotage unfolded. Nord Stream was not one pipeline. It was a system of 4 steel tubes running under the Baltic Sea from Russia to Germany. Nord Stream 1 had been operating since 2011 and 2012. Nord Stream 2 had been finished, but never opened. Together, they represented a direct gas corridor between Russia and Germany. No Ukraine, no Poland, no transit states in between. That was the point. For years, supporters called it energy security. Critics called it dependency. The pipelines ran for more than 1,200 kilometers under the sea, from the Russian coast to Lubmin in northeastern Germany. Nord Stream 1 alone could carry about 55 billion cubic meters of gas per year. Nord Stream 2 would have doubled that. Then, Russia invaded Ukraine. On February 22, 2022, 2 days before the full-scale invasion, Germany froze the certification of Nord Stream 2. It was finished, pressurized, and ready. But it never began regular operation. Nord Stream 1 kept running for months, but the flow became a weapon. Russia reduced supply. Europe accused Moscow of using gas to pressure governments. Gazprom cited technical issues. Germany rejected that explanation. By late August, Nord Stream 1 had stopped. The pipelines were still full of gas. They were still pressurized. They still lay in the dark, about 70 to 80 meters below the Baltic Sea, near one of the most monitored regions in Europe. The surface looked calm. Underneath it, the most expensive pieces of Europe's old energy strategy were sitting exposed. The first blast happened southeast of Bornholm. At 2:03 a.m. local time, seismic stations across northern Europe picked up the signal. It was not huge by earthquake standards, but it was sharp, the kind of signal that comes from a sudden release of energy underwater. The location was near Nord Stream 2. Around the same time, pressure in one of the pipelines dropped. For a system designed to hold enormous pressure across more than 1,000 kilometers, that was not a small event. It meant the pipe had opened somewhere. At first, this looked like an industrial failure, a leak, a technical malfunction, a strange accident at the bottom of the sea. Then came the second event. At 7:03 p.m. local time, the seismic networks detected another blast northeast of Bornholm. This one was larger and more complex. Later, analysis suggested it was not just one explosion, but several blasts occurring within seconds of each other. This time, the target was Nord Stream 1. 3 out of the 4 pipeline strings were now damaged. The 4th remained intact. That detail mattered. This was not a random collapse. It was precise enough to destroy most of the system, but not all of it. It happened in international waters, but inside the exclusive economic zones of Denmark and Sweden. That created a legal maze from the first day. The pipes belonged to a consortium. The gas came from Russia. The destination was Germany. The explosions were near Denmark and Sweden. The war was in Ukraine. Everyone had a reason to care. No one had a simple jurisdiction. The first visible sign was not fire, it was bubbles. Methane rushed out of the broken pipelines and rose through the Baltic Sea. On the surface, it formed vast white circles, churning like boiling water. Ships were warned to stay away. Aircraft photographed the leaks from above. The sea itself had become a crime scene. European leaders quickly called it sabotage. Russia called it terrorism. The United States denied involvement. Ukraine denied involvement. Accusations spread faster than evidence. One of the most sensitive pieces of infrastructure in Europe had been hit, and nobody could prove who did it. For investigators, the problem was geography. A normal crime scene can be sealed with tape. This one was on the seabed. The evidence was under saltwater, pressure, currents, and geopolitical suspicion. Every country near the site had ships, sensors, and intelligence interests. Every movement around the pipeline became important. But the Baltic is busy. Commercial ships cross it constantly. Military vessels operate there. Fishing boats, tankers, research ships, ferries, yachts. Too many tracks, too much noise. Sweden opened an investigation. Denmark opened an investigation. Germany opened an investigation. They did not merge into one. Each country had its own legal interests, its own intelligence concerns, and its own limits. Sweden later said its inquiry had found evidence of deliberate sabotage, but closed the case because Swedish jurisdiction did not apply in the way prosecutors needed. Denmark also closed its investigation, saying authorities could conclude the blasts were deliberate sabotage, but there was not a sufficient basis to pursue a criminal case in Denmark. Germany kept going. That is where the story moved from the seabed to a harbor. According to German prosecutors, the sabotage team used a sailing yacht that left from Rostock on Germany's northeastern coast. The yacht had allegedly been rented through intermediaries using forged identity documents. Investigators later focused on a vessel widely reported as the Andromeda. The theory was almost absurdly small. A handful of people, a rented yacht, diving equipment, explosives. One of the most consequential attacks on European infrastructure in modern history, allegedly carried out not by a visible fleet or a submarine, but by a crew small enough to disappear into normal maritime traffic. That does not mean it was simple. Placing explosives on pipelines at that depth requires training. The Baltic is cold. Visibility can be poor. The targets are large, but finding and working on them underwater is still difficult. Divers would need to locate the pipes, descend with equipment, attach charges, and leave without attracting attention. The operation would need planning, logistics, forged paperwork, and timing. The pipelines were not hidden. Their routes were known. But that also meant everyone understood their importance. According to German prosecutors, Serhiy K., a Ukrainian national, was part of the group that placed explosive devices on Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 near Bornholm. Prosecutors allege he was one of the coordinators of the operation. He was arrested in Italy in August 2025 on a European arrest warrant, then transferred to Germany later that year. He denies involvement. The allegations have not been proven in court. That sentence is not a formality. It is the center of the case, because the Nord Stream sabotage sits in the space between criminal law, war, intelligence operations, and political survival. If a private group did it, why was it possible? If a state supported it, which state? If officials knew, how high did that knowledge go? And if nobody officially ordered it, how did a small crew allegedly carry out an operation that reshaped European energy politics? The timing made every answer dangerous. In September 2022, Ukraine was fighting for survival. Russia had already reduced gas supplies to Europe. Germany was trying to fill storage before winter. Energy prices were high. Governments were under pressure. Nord Stream had become more than infrastructure. It was a symbol of the old deal between Russia and Germany. Cheap gas, political compromise, economic interdependence, a belief that trade could soften power. The explosions ended that belief in one day. Nord Stream 2 had never delivered gas commercially. Nord Stream 1 was already shut. But the physical destruction changed the politics. A closed valve can be reopened. A pipeline torn apart on the seabed cannot be quietly restarted. The sabotage turned a temporary energy rupture into something more permanent. It also sent a message far beyond gas. Under the sea are cables, pipelines, power links, and data routes. They are the hidden organs of the modern world. They carry money, electricity, internet traffic, and fuel. Most people never see them. Most governments cannot fully protect them. A ship passes overhead, a signal disappears, a pressure sensor drops. By the time anyone knows something has happened, the attacker may already be gone. Nord Stream made that visible. After the blasts, countries around Europe began looking differently at the seabed. Not as empty space, but as territory. Not as background, but as a front line. The question was no longer whether underwater infrastructure could be attacked. It had been attacked. The question was how often it could happen before anyone could stop it. And still, the central mystery remained. The German case points toward a specific alleged team and a specific route from Rostock to the area near Bornholm. Media investigations have reported versions of a pro-Ukrainian operation. Russia has pushed accusations against Western governments. Ukraine has denied state involvement. Western governments have denied Russian claims. The public record is a stack of fragments. Seismic waves, pressure drops, yacht rentals, forged documents, underwater damage, closed investigations, and one accused man waiting for the next stage of a German legal process. The sea has already erased much of the moment itself. The gas stopped rising. The warnings faded. The satellite images became archive material. The pipes remained below, broken and corroding, where almost no one can see them. On land, governments moved on to new energy routes, new wars, new cables to protect, new explanations to manage. But the attack did not really end. It became a precedent. Somewhere in the Baltic, 3 steel tubes are still torn open. One survived. Investigators can describe parts of the operation. Prosecutors can bring suspects before a court. Analysts can reconstruct the blasts second by second. But the larger question is still sitting at the bottom of the sea. Who decided Nord Stream had to die?